Okay, welcome back. So before we went to the break, we were talking about this group creativity technique. Any questions on this one before I move to the next topic? Okay. So now some other techniques. The next one in the list is questionnaire and service. As name appears, we will send them service and questionnaire to the group of users to collect the information. So when are we using this? This is a very important question. When we have a large group of people across the world, or maybe distributed in different places, not in one common place. So what normally as a BA we do is we have some of the questions written, like 10, 15 questions written. The questions could be open-ended and closed-ended. Open-ended as in where the business has to explain things, give you the answer. Closed-ended as in like just yes, no. They will answer yes or no, something like that. So you will create some set of questions and you will send the same set of questions to all the groups at the same time through email or through any of the sources that you may want to use. And then everybody will be answering the question and sending it back to you. So this becomes really helpful for you when you have a large group of people across the globe or wherever, is basically not at one place, and you don't have that much time to go and interview them individually. So you create this questionnaire and send them, and you collect the responses and you analyze them. So basically what happens in the questionnaire and service, so obviously the format will be same. You will be using one format and you will be sending to everyone. So the collected data will be, this will be easy for you to analyze things, because everybody will be answering in the same way. So that's important for you. Now, it also has some pros and cons, and what is that we will discuss later on in this class. Second one is observation. As name says, you will actually doing shadowing. What does it mean? Let's say I'm working on something, you will come and sit with me and you will actually observe what I'm doing and how I'm doing. And then you will learn and you will capture the requirement. So this is one of the most successful way of capturing the requirement, but this has a lot of challenges. Now, what those challenges we will discuss in detail in the further slides. So in this process, basically, you are actually doing nothing but to observing very closely how things are being done. That's all. Now, don't talk what is the pros and cons. We have a separate class to discuss in detail. Prototypes is nothing but to creating diagrams, something that people can see and understand what is going on. Let's say an example, you got one requirement from one of the business to design something, maybe a bedroom. Now you have done your homework, you studied the requirement from the business, and what you did, you tried creating some diagrams, like 3D diagram that has some looking like a bedroom, attached bathroom, and bed and everything. And now you are going and showing the business, okay, this you need a bedroom, a master bedroom, and this is, I think we can do this one. Look at this. This is a room size, and we can place the bed here. This is like bathroom, a walk-in closet, all those things. So when business sees it, they will learn more and they can give you more actual feedback that will be helpful for you. And the project will be 100% success. So prototyping is very important. If you can do this one, you do it. If you cannot, go and take help of the UI team. They will help you create these prototypes for you. But during the requirement gathering phases, I'm giving you real-time challenges. Unless the project is officially started, signed off, probably that UI team may not be able to contribute you more because they will not see this as a value adding to their time. They may have other things to do as well. So I would recommend you at least learn one of the prototyping tools that you can use it easily and you can have things come up written on your own and you can go and review with the UI team and then the business. Now, what tools we will discuss in detail later on, not now. So next is benchmarking. Benchmarking is nothing but to use someone else's work. I have done something which was awesome, which was successful. Project was successful. Everybody liked it. And now I have documented and kept somewhere in the business repository. So what you will do as a BA, you will try to benchmark them. You'll go and use those the best proven practices that they have done. And then you will try to follow them and do your project and do your requirement gathering. So now you can utilize this greatest work within and outside of your organizations. It's perfectly fine. As long as it is not like, compliance issues for the other org or other teams, you can use it. Context diagrams. Now, how this context diagram is different than prototype. Prototype is nothing but to give them the actual screens, how it's going to look like. Context diagram is like little technical. This includes your use case diagrams, your class diagram, object diagram, activity diagram, sequence diagram, all those diagrams. Here, it is technically written, and this will tell you how are you doing things, how the system will behave, and how different activities will be performing. You go to the ATM, giving you one simple example. You insert your ATM card, put in your key in your number, and you decide to check your balance or withdraw some amount, or any other things, probably change your phone number, your address, or depositing cash, whatever. And then you follow the instruction and you complete your transactions. So this is like one simple system boundary, and there's certain work that you have been doing there. Now, if I have to explain this to a developer, I may have to write like 50 or more than 50 pages in detail, each steps, how this machine should work. Now, the same thing I can also do in just 1 or 2 pages if I use a use case diagram. Use case diagram is nothing but a graphical representation of the same requirement. So I can do the same thing in just 1 or 2 pages. So this is also very important for a BA to have some knowledge on writing context diagrams. One of the very famous is a use case diagram that you see here I have written. In the interviews, you will 100% get this question: what is use case? How do you write? Can you give me one example of the use case? Can you, in some of the interviews, they'll ask you to write the use case. They'll just simply give you a pen and paper and ask you just give us draw a use case diagram, and they'll give you the situations. So for you to get the job and clear the interviews, you need to have a pretty good understanding of the use case diagrams and some more diagrams like activity diagrams and sequence diagrams. Now, are we going to study this thing? The context diagram, the whole UML comes in the intermediate level of the course. And as of now, I have no idea if I'm going to teach you or not. I'll do some assessment. Assessment will be your technical knowledge, what you have studied, plus your commitments. And we'll decide if you would like to go for the intermediate course or not. For now, for you to understand, use case diagram is one of the perfect example of context diagram. So you should be doing as well when you're capturing the requirement, because when you draw these things, business or user will understand these things in detailed way and can give you more ideas, more insights that you can help yourself clearing a lot of doubts. So this is very good things you should be using. Question: should we use this always, or do we really need to use it? And there's no answer. You may or may not. As I said, you may not be using all these techniques. You may be just 1, 2, or maybe I'm not sure. That completely depends on the projects, the tenure, the team, and your experience. Completely depends. So you may or may not be using use case diagrams in the project. So don't worry. Document analysis, you will have some of the documents from the business end that you will analyze, read this, go through the document, analyze, find out some initial requirements, and based on that, you plan your way of working and drill down further and keep adding more information. This is one of the ways that you can also collect the requirements from doing different already existing documents. This could be anything. Could be the requirement document that you get initially from the business, or could be any of your internal documents, or could be a document that was done for some other project. But you believe this is going to be really helpful for me. You go and study all those documents and do your analysis and find out the notes, the key points, and then you start working from there. Now, this page is nothing but everything at one place. Whatever we have studied, all those techniques, their descriptions, and the way in just one page. So if you would like to see this, just let me know. I can attach this Excel in the video, YouTube video. You can download from there. But just let me know if you guys need it. Otherwise, I'm not going to do this. All right. Everything is at one place. Any questions before I go ahead?
Yes. Does the use case diagram has to be included in the functional requirement document?
Yes and no, both. Functional requirement may have graphical representation of the requirement or may not. That again depends. But if you add, this is going to be really helpful. I said no as well. The reason being, business, moreover, they're not interested in knowing how things are working. So they are just interested in knowing what you have understood and how soon you can do this one, what cost they have to pay, all those things. So basically in business requirement document, BRD, we have the functional requirements in simple plain English language, like plain vanilla flavor, no more technicals. Business may not be able to understand all those technical jargons, so you may not be adding. But when you're writing this the software requirement documentation for your internal team, you may end up writing if the project needs it. If there's a requirement for the use case, you will write. Otherwise, you will not write. Not all the requirements will want you to write these contact diagrams. No, some of them they may. If it is required, you have to write. So your question is under functional requirement. If that functional requirement is for the technical team, probably you will end up writing it. If that functional requirement is for the business, you may not write it. You may not write it. So that depends. Now, when we study the use case diagram, since you have asked this question, let me give you the answer. Use case diagrams are actually two types: the business use case and system use case. Business use case is like a simpler version of the use case that any person can understand, like any layman person can understand simply, if I don't have to be technical to understand. So that business use cases we write for the business requirement documents if at all needed. We try to avoid those things. The reason being, business may like ask a lot of questions, like too many to and fro emails. We would like to avoid all those things. We do not write unless it is needed. And then in the system use cases are actually for the developers or for the technical team. So you will be writing all those system use cases in software requirement document or the functional requirement documents if that is all being written for the development team. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Decision-making techniques. This is important. This is one of the very possible questions for you in the interviews. The interviewer may ask you this way. You have discussed a lot of things. There are like 5, 6, or 10 group of people, the key stakeholders, and you have some conflicts, probably you're not able to make some decisions on your own, or business is not able to make some decisions. What techniques you will use to make sure you get some decisions done already? So there are 5 techniques. First is unanimity. What does it mean? Everyone has to be agreeing on this one. If everybody is agreeing, we are taking the decisions, right? How do you do that? You can do a poll. You can do like, the anonymous chat polls or whatever. There are different ways of doing all those things. Majority. So during the poll, you found almost everyone is agreeing. Probably out of 100 people, 5 people are not agreeing, but 95 people are agreeing. So almost everyone is agreeing. So you will take the decision on that certain point. Consensus. Over 50% has to agree. Let's say out of 100 people, 55 people are saying yes and 45 no. So almost 50% are saying no. This may have a little conflict in the future, but since we have set a proper expectation, we will be accepting consensus votes. So we will be going ahead with that vote. Why? Because we agreed if we have over 50% of the vote, we will go ahead with that. So you have to set the proper expectations as well before you do all these techniques. Plurality. What does it mean? The largest group has to agree. However, 50% not required. So before you started using these techniques, you have discussed with the group of the people and set proper expectation that, okay, we will be accepting things if majority of us are saying yes. However, this may or may not be 50% above, at least 50 or 50% above. If everybody is agreeing, you can also use this technique. And the last one is dictatorship, which is a big no, big no for any of the things, even for the exams, for the interviews, for your real-time work. Not one person should be taking decisions. This is going to be really a big mess, a big problem. So don't say no. So now if you see from top to bottom, you have to give the priority. On the top, number 1 priority, second, after that, third, after that, and so on. So you should be trying to do first thing first, unanimity, and then you do go with the majority. And then if even it doesn't work, you go with consensus, and then the next, and then next. This is how you do decision making. And do you really do always? No. At certain times, you come in the situation where you're not able to make some decisions, and then you use these techniques. Any questions on this one?
No.
Cool. So the interviewer may ask you, what are the different decision-making techniques? Simple words. Or they may ask you, can you explain us what do you mean by consensus with an example? Or probably they may ask you, how do you guys take decisions? Do you have someone kind of the one person who's taking all the decisions? Basically, he wants or she wants to know if there's a dictatorship there, right? They may ask you, what is the difference between majority and consensus? Anything they can ask. And these questions are pretty easy to answer if you understand the concept. This is very important for you to understand. I should have written that red straight mark here. I forgot to add it here, but this is important for you to memorize. But before I go ahead, any questions? Once again, anyone? All right. Which of the following is not a technique for requirement gathering? Interview, surveys, brainstorming, and quality assurance. Give me your answer.
I will go with D.
D.
Okay.
D.
Let's see. Yes. The quality assurance is a process of quality check, not the requirement gathering. And this comes after requirement gathering. So you guys are right, correct, 100% good. Second question, when should a BA use questionnaire and surveys from for requirement gathering? You read the options and give me the answer. When should a BA use questionnaire and surveys for requirement gathering?
I think I will go with D as well.
You said D, all of above?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else?
It's D.
The same answer, right?
C.
C. Okay, this technique is used with, okay. What else?
I think C.
C. Okay, let's see what is the answer. Yes, the answer is C. This technique is used where there's a large group of people. When everyone sits around and shares ideas, this is not called questionnaire. This is called, what do you call it? You guys tell me. You just studied. It's called brainstorming. We're sitting everybody together and collecting the ideas. Co-locate all key stakeholders together to discuss and capture. This could be one of your, the group, the techniques. But surveys and questionnaire we always use when we have a large group of people across the world, across the different regions, and then we send them the questionnaires. Cool. Thank you very much for all of you, your time for this course. And tomorrow we are going to study all these techniques once again in detail. So what we will be doing tomorrow, we are going to study the pros and cons of each of these techniques that we have studied, starting from interview till the end. So we will learn, if we are going to use interviews, what is the benefit and what is the problems we will face. So that is going to be a very important class for you guys. So please make sure you join this meeting and learn from the class. Cool, so I think I'm done for this class. Anyone has any other questions, you can ask, otherwise we are done.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. No questions.
Okay. Oh.